Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a game on Lost Temple between Rekrul and Artosis. Top of the map here, we have our blue Protoss player. It is a Rekrul, and on the right side we have our Terran player. It is Artosis. I wanted to cast an Artosis game, I wanted to cast a Lost Temple game, so here we are on Lost Temple. Artosis and Rekrul played on an island map on my channel a few months ago. So if you want to see a game between these two players on an island map, go ahead and let me know, and I'll put a link to the description. Link in the description to that game. Hoorah! All right, what do we got? What do we got here, guys? What are we doing? This is a 2009 match. Got this replay off of bwreplays.com. Really a good place to go for some kind of, replays over the last 15, 20 years. They are a fantastic resource that way. So scouting the correct direction here is Rekrul, sending his probe to find exactly where Artosis is and harass him as he tries to build things, but maybe not. Maybe he has too much respect for the Artosis. Perhaps, I don't actually know. Gas steal, maybe? Maybe thought about it for a second, but chose not to. Instead, just making probes and making a gateway back home, and maybe trying to make Artosis think he is going to gas steal. Look at this. It's like, hey. Oh, and then he does. All right. I mean, he telegraphed that as hard as you possibly can. God, it was funny. All right, so a gas steal from Rekrul, which just means it's harder to go directly into things like tanks and factories. Well, factories first, but then siege tanks and whatnot. Getting upgrades for your vultures is hard if you don't have any gas either. So, annoyance. It is an annoyance. We don't see it all the time in PvT. But if you scout the right direction and can kind of get in there before this is walled off or before there's a marine to stop you from doing it, maybe make your opponent tilt a little bit. Just a bit of tilting. Alright, well, Sharper Core coming in before expansion from Rekrul. SCV is actually trying to kill this. This is how important this is to Artosis. He needs that gas. He needs the gas. He needs to make a Marine, too, to help kill that thing and get that refinery up and running. Production tab says there is a Marine coming in. Is this a hard wall? Wow, hard walled. I guess you can lift the barracks, so it's not the end of the world for Artosis, but yeah, he's like, I need the factory here. So bad. Come on. Do it. Get the refinery. Ugh. Okay, there it is. There's the refinery. I can imagine Artosis mumbling under his breath at how mad he is that this didn't go down when he wanted it to. Maybe there was a glitch. That's why it was late. Sometimes units in Brood War don't do what you want them to do. If you're Flash, you can make them do whatever you want them to do all the time. Obviously, but everybody else has those moments where the units don't do what you want them to do. So Bunker coming up on the high ground, really worried about incoming Dragoons, which is fair. Because the SCV knows that's what's happening here. Ooh, that's an important hit. 4 HP, and the SCV escapes with his life to tell his friends over a pint of beer what happened to him today. And by that I mean, he doesn't go home at all and sticks around and waits for a Dragoon to release him from death. Fair enough, bud. Singularity charge on the way. Second gate up. So second gate before expansion. Again, a bit of an older replay, 2009. 2009 seems to be about as far back as I can go to load replays in the current client of StarCraft Brood War. I did find this SC2, what's it called? It's like a launcher that launches different versions of Brood War. It's awesome, except I can't figure out where they're installed and where I can put replays that it can find them. So that's kind of got me stumped a little bit, but I'll figure it out. And once that happens, I should be able to load some replays from like 2003, 2002, 2001. I mean, even beyond the ones that I've already cast on the channel. If you want to see like a August 2001 replay, or like it's even maybe early September, That's on the channel as well. So, yeah, I'm trying to kind of do a good mix between new and old here. I think I'm doing pretty well with that. Pretty good. Pretty good with that. There's the Expander Rooney, obviously. There's not an expansion here from Artosis. He's building a command center inside his main, though, so that counts. That counts as expanding full show. Robo facility coming in for Rekrul. These players have played each other a lot. They know each other very well. I think Rekrul definitely stopped playing a long time ago, but still, one of those names that you recognize, right? Like one of those names where, you hear it, just brings back memories. American pro gamer, went to poker from Ohio. Currently lives in San Diego. What? Did he win 2007 World Series of Poker? In the 2007 World Series of Poker heads-up event, he swept Las Vegas poker pro Mark Munchnick in the best 2 out of 3 matches at the final table. Dude, he's a super accomplished poker player. What on earth? What a crazy transition. That's amazing. He won a World Series of Poker bracelet 8 days before his 22nd birthday. What an absolute boss. Anyway, this game is happening. I didn't know this. I mean, he won WCG USA in 2003, defeating Assam. So that's pretty impressive. How old was he? Okay, so if he was 22 in 2007, then 5 years earlier, he was like 17? Dang, young player. What a boss. All right. Pretty impressive poker player on top of being a really good StarCraft player. Best player in America at one time, in fact. So hang on. If this is a 2009 replay, did he just kind of pick up poker in his spare time and keep playing StarCraft? Is that what happened here? I need to know. Who's a Rekrul fan? Who can fill me out in here in the comments as to what is going on with Rekrul? Because if he's doing that, I'm even more impressed if he's winning World Series of Poker bracelets while competing at a high level in StarCraft in America. Anyway, I mean, it's not like he's winning Korean tournaments or anything, but, you know, best player in America back then was not too shabby, right? You had Artosis and Tasteless and Day 9 and Idra and In Control. Like, there were a ton of good players in the scene back then. None of them world champions, but, you know, can't all be Flash, can't all be Bisu. Artosis is taking a kind of a ninja third over here. It's very exposed and is therefore gonna get absolutely wrecked by Rekrul. Haha! Dad jokes. Dad jokes all the way. Also, yeah, we're just dropping Dragoons in here to kill SCVs and murder your stuff. But there are enough siege tanks to where they really should just probably go home. And they will. Rekrul is smart about that. He's getting a 3rd Nexus here at this Minerals Only expansion. I just lost Temple. I like this Observer. This Observer parked right here is exactly where Rekrul wants it. Artosis has no idea. Just Lost Temple brings... It's a nostalgic map to me. A hugely nostalgic map. Just because it was a really popular Brood War map. Okay, so that didn't go very well for Rekrul at all. Goodbye, everything. Right, really popular Brood War map, and also a really popular StarCraft 2 map when that came out in 2010. And as someone who made that transition and kind of, you know, has love in my heart for both, just Lost Temple. It's not a great map. It's not super balanced. We didn't really know a whole lot about map balance back then. But, you know, it has a soft spot in my heart anyway. I like it. I have fond memories of trying to use Mutalisks against Protoss in both Brood War and StarCraft 2 on this map, so... Let's tell you, it doesn't go as well. Protoss is pretty good against Mutalisks. Alright, so we know the map and the blueprint for Protoss versus Terran. What you want to do is definitely expand a whole bunch. Try to trade out Dragoons for tanks consistently throughout the early stages of the game. Keep that tank count low. right? Maybe tech into carriers if you're into that sort of thing. And that is an Arbiter Tribunal, so probably not carriers yet, if ever. And as a Terran, it's pretty much get 3 bases and get a ton of siege tanks. And then roll out, and if the army comes close to you, siege up. And then just kind of leapfrog your tanks, leapfrog, or just go if they run away, and get your tank sieged right here, and you pretty much win the game. That's how you play Terran versus Protoss. It's not as complex as Protoss versus Terran, but you know. Artosis to this day kind of has a hard time taking a 3rd base against a Protoss opponent. And as we can see here, he doesn't have one. So that step 1 part of the plan is not going particularly great for him right now. This is a good army from Artosis, though. Got a whole ton of Vultures to deal with those pesky Zealots. Got a ton of Spider Mines getting laid down here, too. This is not defensive, though, man. Maybe it's so that if Zealots make a run, like attempt to run by into here, they just get obliterated by the Spider Mines. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. So he's moving out. He's definitely kind of reconsolidating his forces in the middle of the map here. And he's moving up. Once again, when the army's in range, you siege. There you go. Immediately sieges up the tanks, and Rekrul's willing to make these trades. No, he's not. He is not willing. He doesn't get any of these tanks pulling back. See, then you unsiege these tanks back here, move them up a little bit, siege them. That's the leapfrog aspect of this whole thing. It's how I beat Protoss when I'm Terran in the campaign. I don't play a lot of Terran in ladder or anything, or any kind of 1v1 stuff at all. But yeah, you have enough siege tanks, anything that wanders into range is just going to die, and it's a good feeling. Ooh, we've got a bunch of Goliaths, too. Goliaths are here to deal with the Arbiters, but provide some really nice ground DPS, too. And so far, so good. Artosis is looking alright. Again, the 3rd base aspect of this whole thing is kind of missing right now. Cloak. Cloak 'em. Yes, they're cloaked. See? Invisible bullets are coming at you. Oh, also, trying to come from this left side and flank up a bit, but that's not going particularly well for Rekrul either. Goliaths trying to snipe down that Arbiter. Can't quite do it. But the tanks keep sieging up. This is good. This is good for Artosis. But once again, I can't help but notice there's not a 3rd base. Look who's working on a 4th base right now. Do you even know this exists? I don't know that he knows this exists. And it's just not a super duper scary amount of tanks. I mean, 0 tanks died right there, so maybe it is. We'll give it a scary rating, but it's not a super duper ultra mega crazy scary rating, right? Right. He's not. Now, those spider mines do provide vision that these probes came by and headed that direction, so you gotta be a little bit suspicious, right? Getting direct hits on this, on this Nexus and all, okay. I think Rekrul's just gonna lose this, man. This is working out pretty darn well for Artosis. Yeah, man, that natural base is just gonna die. It's entirely sacked. These probes aren't even running. Artosis producing well, floating a little bit of money, but overall doing okay. And then I mean, DTs are coming in. Rekrul losing that natural base and really getting nothing for it is a problem. Tank count continues to grow, +1 attack here for these mech units. And there's the recall! Alright, I was wondering when we were going to get a recall out. So trying to get rid of these siege tanks, getting up into this mineral line, and wow, taking down. I like the Comsat station snipe. I like that we're going after SCVs right now. That's really important if Rekrul's going to win this game. Yeah, Vulture's just getting hammered to death by Zealots, which is not usually how this works. Oh, how the tables have turned there. The turntables, I think, is becoming more socially acceptable as far as how you say that. Artosis down to 24 SCVs. He had to bring his entire army home to deal with this recall. He cannot be pleased about this. Alright, so he does clean it up by, again, bringing the whole army home, which gives Rekrul enough time to kind of establish this fourth base. Third base is happy. Natural base not getting reestablished. And it's 114 and 98 supply for Artosis. Not great. Not great for Rekrul, but good recall nevertheless. Killing that SCV account is pretty important. You're trying to slow down and, you know, possibly destroy that economy of your opponent, but destruction not really in the cards right now. Ah, look who figured it out. Look who figured out. There's an army over here, or a base over here with very little defending it. Okay, you know what? Remember when I was like Artosis on 2 base is not going to work out? I kind of feel like it's working out here. DT's coming, but good scan, beautiful scan. And fare thee well. This entire base. I think Rekrul just lost this game. You're gonna big recall right on top of all these siege tanks, though. Is it enough for the tanks to all die? The answer is no. But several of the tanks are going down, and that's sort of the entire goal here, right? Great recall. Rekrul has no gas. That is a problem for him. He's got 1 assimilator running. His natural's not. I don't think he ever took the gas here at this 4th base either, and the 3rd doesn't have a Vespene Geyser. So I think Artosis is just kind of swallowing up Rekrul here. Just, you know, taking him down piece by piece by piece. That's 2 bases down. Artosis hasn't lost either of his 2 bases yet. He still doesn't have a 3rd. He still doesn't have a 3rd base. He's just like, you don't need it. Maybe this is the start of the problems that Artosis has with getting 3rd bases, is he's winning games without taking a 3rd. And he's like, you don't need 2. Terran's fine on 2 bases. Siege tanks are incredibly cost efficient. Goliaths are 2. Vultures, same thing. Mech is just unstoppable. That's all you have to do. I mean, mined out of the main base. So what? We still have money down here. Yeah, man, I think Rekrul is just getting smothered. Okay, another recall down here. All right, hold on. Hold on. Rekrul might not, you know, he might have some things to say yet about this. He just wiped out pretty much the entire army of Artosis that was coming down this direction. He's retaking this bottom left. Hang on! I might have been shoveling dirt onto Rekrul's grave a little bit too soon. Oh, Artosis is trying to take a 3rd. It just got scouted. Ugh. Ugh. Hold on. Hold on, Artosis. Your 3rd base is going to be fine. Are we going to recall on top of the 3rd base? Are we going to... We don't have the energy for it. No. We're just coming down to harass it a little bit. Or just running for your life because you don't want to get EMP'd by this science vessel. You think he has EMP? I don't know if I didn't see that come through on the research. I don't know. Ye old production tab. But what are we at? 89 and 98 supply. Rekrul's still down, but he has this money. And he could... probably, yeah, so he's breaking out, right? He's retaking his natural probably a lot later than he has been able to, right? Because there's nothing here. Now the army's coming up this way to try to mess with Rekrul quite nicely. But, man, this base is done. That's real nice. There's really nothing defending this base from anything that comes over there. Except for maybe a couple of Spider-Mines and that 1 siege tank. So... Alright, so this base is not happening. Rekrul needs to give up all illusions that he can have this base. Yeah, also, though, if Rekrul could kill this... Oh, Arbiter! Yeah, down to 8 HP. Probe count, 26 to 32. Yeah, these older games, man, a little bit slower, especially from foreigners, right? But I think Artosis is doing okay. Again, still income from the natural. Income from the third, looking moderately good. Needs to put these SCVs to work, but even Flash has idle SCVs sometimes. Seen it. Seen it before. Okay, so now can we shovel dirt onto Rekrul? He's not doing anything about this. He's just gonna lose his, I mean, and a really important source of income here. Probes aren't even running for it. Like Rekrul's, I mean, where do you run, I guess, is the larger question. Down to 17 probes after that. And coming in, okay, he does recall onto Artosis' base down here. Alright, alright. So Artosis might get starved out. This is a surprisingly... Every time I think this game is over, it turns out to be a little bit closer than I expected. Like, Artosis seriously mining out at that natural, but not mined out yet, and that's important. That is an important factor here. Nice EMP on the Arbiter. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Recalls aren't going to happen for a long time there yet. Alright, man. Rekrul's down to 48 supply to 144 for Artosis. It's 16 to 24 total workers in favor of the Terran player. He can bring... Yep, he's bringing the command center back over to retake this source of income, this source of mineral support. It's at 24 SCVs, which is not where you want to be at 22 minutes, but you know, if your opponent's at 17, you're probably doing okay. Rekrul's one source of income is here, and it's spectacular. Another group of units here ready to be recalled somewhere, but I don't know if there are any Arbiters available for that. At least no Arbiters that have enough energy for it. Like this guy. Oh, hang on. This guy does. But I think all Artosis really has to do is going to recall this group. He's going to try to recall this group over here. As soon as everybody's all gathered up together as close as they can. But can they hold... Oh, wait! No! The Arbiter died! The Arbiter died without recalling! Okay, that was the last hope. That was the last Arbiter hope. Oh, wait. This is another... Wait, a different one. A different one, eh? And that's GG anyway. Rekrul taps out. And Artosis wins the match here in 23 minutes. Just well played by Artosis. I mean, seriously, just patient, slow, and steady, pushing up, taking down your opponent's natural to the point that he never retakes it. That's amazing. Killing his fourth base, killing his third base, and then killing his fifth base. Well, about to kill his fifth base, but didn't really get there. 1-1 upgrades, not the best upgrades of all time. But, you know, slow and steady wins the race. Artosis does get that third base up, which turns out to be extremely important. And just kills enough of Rekrul's stuff that he's winner. Winner is him. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Got 117,000 points for Artosis. 89,000 for Rekrul. Working on 300 units produced for Artosis to 200 for Rekrul. That's a pretty good ratio. Killed 172 to 123. Structures raised. Way more by Artosis. That makes a lot of sense. And then resources here. Way more gas mined from Artosis, which does track. More minerals from Rekrul and outspent the Terran, but only by, you know, 2,000 exactly, just about. So, good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Okay, so at the end of the day there, that's gonna be it for me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered in a 2009 match. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.